Hi, I'm Betty Banjack, and this is Look Who's Cooking. Today, our special guest is Jim Williams, and Jim is the executive director of Assets Montco.
Correct.
And maybe as we talk a little bit, you can tell us what Assets Montco involves. Not now, but as we go along the show.
Sure.
You can just think. I have to tell you this before we go any further. Jim is about the tallest person I know on a daily basis. There's a few other people, but I always had to sort of look up to Jim. So that's a very good thing, and I do look up to Jim. Jim is going to make one of his very favorite dishes. I heard about this for years now. You played basketball in Norristown, right? You were pretty, then you went to Italy?
I played basketball in Italy, and that's where I acquired the taste for spaghetti. The Italians are wonderful because they have 101 different ways to prepare spaghetti or pasta, and the spaghetti alla carbonara is one that I came to appreciate very.
You were in Italy a long time, weren't you?
I spent about 10 years there. I played for 10 years, and then I was in business with other Italian businessmen for another 4 after I finished playing.
So you're almost Italian.
Italian is my adopted home,
okay.
And I'm fluent in Italian. I read, speak, and write Italian, and so that's my second home.
I didn't know that. Well, why don't we get started with your dish
sure,
today? He's going to show us how he makes it, and we'll just start.
Okay. First of all, you want to take a mixing bowl, and in the interest of time, I've gone ahead and before the show started, we put some grated Parmesan cheese in a bowl. To that, you want to add a couple of eggs.
Let me just move things on.
And just crack them.
I'll take it. Just what I need, an egg shell. I'm the garbage disposal. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle.
Okay, and now we want to add a quarter cup of heavy cream.
That is heavy. I was watching you pour it before, like glop, glop, glop.
Okay.
It's out.
And now get it all out and simply whip it all together. Until it becomes very creamy and very, very smooth.
I noticed you have that in the wrist action.
The wrist action is still there.
Yeah. When you played basketball in Norristown, you were sort of a basketball champion, hero?
Yes, our team actually went all the way to the state finals. Unfortunately, we didn't win it. We lost the state championship to a team out in Western PA. By the name of a Uniontown.
Well, I figured somebody has to win everything and somebody has to lose, you know, and there's no sweat. Yeah, why did it have to be you? Yeah, I know. I don't know if that makes me feel better saying that or not, but okay, we have that whipped up there. That's pretty good.
I'd like to get a little more creamy than that. And
do you use large eggs or small eggs, or there's nothing small, like a medium egg or a large egg or extra?
As you can see, I like large eggs.
Yeah.
At the medium and the small, I just find aren't enough. But again, it's all according to your taste. And as we go through this recipe, I'll point out several times how you can add more or less of any ingredient, and it really depends on your own personal.
I mentioned in one of my cookbooks, I can't tell you which one, I think it was the first one, Downtown Kitchen, that if the recipe didn't say what size egg, to always use a large one.
Ah, okay.
Because it seemed to be just enough yolk, just enough white.
Okay, now
what are we going to do?
We set that aside, and then we want to take. I take 4 strips of bacon.
Is there a reason there's 4 strips?
Yes, because I like to go light on the bacon. You can use as much as a half a pound. This is my own personal preference, and you simply take 4 strips of bacon. I take 4 strips of bacon and put them in a frying pan. Now I should also mention that bacon is being fried in olive oil that has and the olive oil, before we got started, we simply sauteed a couple of garlic cloves.
So it's like flavored with the garlic.
It is flavored with the garlic. And when we get our finished product, we'll really be able to taste it.
I'm just going to check the water back here for you.
It's boiling?
It's boiling.
Okay, the water is boiling. You know, one of the tricks to cooking is that you have to be able to do 3 or 4 things at one time.
Oh, well, sure. Don't you do that with everything?
And, well, that's a good juggling act. Now, what I do, you're supposed to put a teaspoon of salt in the boiling water.
What do you mean by supposed to?
That is, if you just noticed, I use less than a teaspoon, only because heart problems and high blood pressure run in my family. I take as much sodium out of my diet. However, you need a little salt sometimes to flavor things.
You know John Victor, don't you?
Yes, I know. I do. I know
John Victor was on a show of mine earlier this year, and he was in the school of measure everything exactly. I mean, everything, and I kept throwing things in on him, you know. But there's 2 different schools. One, you know, everything exactly, and the other just, wing it.
Well, I wouldn't call it winging it. I would call it more adjusting the recipe.
Aren't you diplomatic?
To your taste. And again, I'm from the school of thought that anybody who can read can cook.
Right. You're right.
You can take the sum total of cooking, and it comes down to 2 things: time and temperature. And if you have the proper cooking utensils, anybody can get in the kitchen and prepare a meal. It's not that difficult.
No, it isn't. It's just people don't want to do it. That's why they say it's difficult, because then you can get out of it. So how's the bacon coming?
The bacon is not quite ready yet.
Why don't we put the heat up a little?
Okay.
Yep, it's up.
I was not, didn't grow up being a good cook because my mother didn't want any of her boys in the kitchen.
Well, my mother, I was an only child. I was a girl, and she didn't want me to be in her kitchen and mess it up. I was to clean it up, but I wasn't supposed to go in there and don't mess my kitchen up. So I know that feeling.
That's interesting. But it's something that I do wish that I'd learned at home, and I wish that I had some of my mother's recipes, in fact.
Is your mother living?
No, my mother's deceased, and has been for, some 15, 16 years now.
That's why I try to encourage people to get their families and their if they won't write them down, talk on a tape, and then you can get it off of that, because when they're gone, the recipes are gone. And I always people thought they just knew how to cook without a recipe, but I always thought it was a power struggle. I thought they held the power of what the food was going to taste like, so they weren't going to share it with anybody. So
I think you have a point there.
But if you can, try to get the recipes from your family. What are we going to do next?
Well, we're going to wait for this to cook. We're going to throw the pasta in, and this will be ready in about.
Don't burn yourself. It's pretty hot. I can see it.
Okay.
It's the steam coming up.
Now everybody, of course, knows that the proper way to cook pasta is with the lid off. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know. Some people cook it on. Some people cook it off.
That is not the correct way.
Oh, okay. Mr. 14 years in Italy, who am I going to argue with?
You want to bring your water to a boil, add your salt, and then throw your pasta in. And get it all below the surface of the water. and keep an eye on it.
All right. Now what? Oh, we're still on the bacon.
Yeah, we're still on the bacon. And
Almost done now.
You want to brown it real good so that it's very, very crispy. And this won't be too long before it's ready, Betty. So would you be kind enough to get me a paper towel?
A paper towel. While you're poking at the bacon, you want to tell us exactly the mission of Assets Montco? I can sort of, but you can tell better than I can.
Sure. Assets Montco, very simply, is a small business training program in Norristown that was started by MEDA, which is Mennonite Economic Development Associates, and very simply, Assets Montco is a 13-week business design and management training program that is designed for anybody who wants to start a business, or it's also for people who are already in business and simply want to do a better job of what they're doing. And the course lasts for 13 weeks, and there's only two basic requirements. There's a business plan workbook that must be completed, and the participants can miss no more than 3 classes and still get a certificate of completion. And then upon completion of the course, then we offer ongoing technical assistance to the various participants. And, are you okay? All righty. We're going to switch mics here? Okay. I guess I'm not being picked up very well. You'll have to hold that one while I take this one off then.
I know I had been to a few, not as a business person, but I've been to workshops and graduations, and I don't know exactly how I got there, other than I do go to a lot of places. By invitation. Okay. I'm not being smart, you know, so I do see, and I know you use the library as part of your program.
Yes, we do. The library is actually a very important part. In fact, we were just with Loretta.
Yeah, Loretta Ryder is the one who uses her time.
And she is very, very good.
I think we.
And this is done. The bacon,
okay.
The bacon is done.
All right.
And so we're just going to take this and put this onto paper towel. And I use paper towels just to drain off all of the excess oil.
I always double them.
Double it. Okay. Now, if we can turn this down a little bit.
To turn it down, turn it up.
There we go. There we go.
That's a strange stove.
Okay. Okay. We have to reduce the heat there a little bit because next we are going to saute our onions and mushrooms.
There's the onions.
And that is looking a little hot. That's hotter than I like.
Well,
that's fine. Okay.
Try it anyway.
Right. Okay. Okay, that is hot. Okay. And you take 4 ounces of mushrooms and add it.
Could you use fresh mushrooms?
You can use fresh mushrooms. Betty, I was just about to point that out. You can use canned or fresh mushrooms, depending upon your taste. For convenience sake, this morning I just grabbed a can of mushrooms out of the cupboard and came on down to the show. But here, just saute this, mix it all together.
It smells wonderful.
Oh, it's delicious. It is delicious. Wait till you taste it. And there we go. That's looking good. Okay.
Now what?
Alrighty, now
What's in here?
we're just going to, that's parsley, and that's an empty egg crate. We can discard that. We have no further use for that. And okay, in sauteing anything, as you know, the most important thing to do is to get it spread out. You don't want to, you can't saute anything in a mound. So get everything spread out. Okay. Alrighty.
I'm just going to get rid of some of this
Sure,
stuff.
sure, that's fine. Okay.
What next?
Well, next we are going to remove, let's leave this on just for another 30 seconds or so, and keep watching our pasta. And okay. All right, now I'm going to take our bacon bits as we're coming down to the end of it, and just crumble your bacon strips. Crumble it into tiny, tasty bits, and distribute it in the sauce there. And coming down to the home stretch here, Betty. That's cheating. That's cheating.
No one says I can't cheat.
Okay.
And what do we have now?
Okay. Well, we want to drain it. Actually, what we want to do, let me just put this in here ahead of the pasta. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. Okay.
What are you going to do with the eggs? You don't mix them together?
No.
No.
We're gonna do this next. Okay. Now this mixture is the last thing that we do, and my only concern is that this spaghetti has not come back to a boil yet.
Here, why don't you toast
Yeah.
it?
And it is not done yet either.
Well, not to worry. While it's cooking, I'll make the dessert.
Okay.
I'll move your onions over here. And these are macaroons, and they're very simple, they're very easy, and they'd be wonderful to serve with something like what Jim is making. And they're easy. I can't tell you how easy. And with spring, they're always nice. They're a macaroon, and they're easy to make. I keep saying that because it's not like flour and sugar. I mean, there are, but they're just small amounts. And what I put in this batch is 1 1/3 cup of shredded coconut. I just put it in a dish. That. And 1/3 cup of sugar. Like that. Two tablespoons of flour. That's all these cookies will have in them. And then I just want to whisk it together just to get the flour through the coconut. And most macaroons have an almond flavor, so I'm going to use some almond extract. About a 1/2 tablespoon. Depends on how you like it. If you like it, put a teaspoon, I'm sorry. Put a tablespoon in it. Too strong. Excuse me. And then, last but not least, 2 egg whites.
Mm-hmm.
I just put that in there. And just mix it all together. And you should let it, after you mix it together, let it set a little bit so it's sort of, don't do anything until we're back on air, or
no,
you're
we're
back
not,
on.
I'm not.
He's always trying to get away, going and faster than me. And then what happens is, I like to use the parchment paper I told you about. But let me tell you, I made a batch at home because, as I said, I like these to sit a little while. And it makes a nice small batch. It's really nice for a couple people instead of making a big batch of cookies. What I want to show you is you get them nice and brown. And they're nice and chunky. It's sort of like an Easter egg. Whoops, let me.
Oh, wow, look at that. That was quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that was quick. I baked these
I
last
know you
night.
did. I know you did.
And I'm not that fast. But again, here's the batter. And what you would do is just, what did we do with them? Well, as you all know, we're not cooking out of anyone's particular kitchen. It's what we set up here at the high school. We have some cookie dishes, so I'll put these on the dishes later and we'll bake them for anyone that wants them. But I'm just going to put that aside and show you this is what the final cookie looks like. In fact, there's a couple more, so I'll put them here. As I started to say, they're almost like an Easter egg, but they're a nice cookie.
Yeah, very appropriate, just the season.
Yeah. But,
Okay.
so let's jump back to what you're doing.
Okay. Now I'm going to combine all of this on the skillet. And now let's add our
That going back in?
all of this, and we mix it all together until the sauce thickens. And we mix it all together in this bowl again, and we're ready to eat.
When you put it back, why don't you use this nice big bowl?
Well, that's fine. Yep.
It's a little bigger, and then
Okay. Okay.
they can get to it quicker.
That's fine. That's fine. But all we do is just keep stirring this. We don't want to cook it. Just stir it until the sauce thickens.
And it smells good.
And we are just about ready. Let's turn this off.
Turn it up.
There we go. Already turn it up to turn it off. That's pretty good.
To turn it down, you turn it up too. It's confusing.
That's pretty good. Okay. Okay. This. And the spaghetti is done.
You like to use, you said vermicelli?
I use spaghetti, except for when I have a time constraint, such as today's show.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I took the vermicelli, because I didn't want to take 12 to 14 minutes to cook the pasta. But this is done. I've already tasted it.
It doesn't want to come off.
No, I guess sometimes you get one that gets tangled. And we can, okay. And we can turn that off now. Now this is very, very simple. All you do is toss everything together here in the mixing,
I'm
in this
coming.
bowl.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. All the ingredients in there.
The egg really thickens that up.
Yeah, it does. It does. And now, for those in your viewing audience, Betty, who are health conscious, I would not
Don't make
recommend
this.
this. I would not recommend this 5 nights a week.
No, maybe once a month.
Well, once a month or so for a treat now and then. That's okay there. Now, you simply mix it all up real good. And you want to add red pepper flakes, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. You don't want to get too much, and you want just a couple of teaspoons of parsley, parsley, and now we'll mix
Can you
this
mix that
all
in?
up. Yep, mix all of this up, and we're ready to serve. Okay. Well, Betty,
I have a clean fork. Can I taste it?
absolutely, absolutely. Help yourself.
Oops. Could eat this 4 days a week. That was not too healthy to eat all of it.
No, no, it's not healthy to eat it that often, but it is good. And
I have a question.
Sure.
You going to share this recipe with our viewers? Your recipe?
Sure, sure.
So if you write in to, the graphic that you see at the end, Post Office Box 1660, Norristown 19404, we'll get you the recipe and we'll send you the macaroon recipe. Macaroon, listen to me. Recipes.
Sure.
And we'll share them with you, and you can have them anytime that you feel that you need them. I want to thank you very much for coming. I know you have a
You're
very
quite
busy
welcome.
schedule, and it's difficult, but I'll...
It's my pleasure, Betty. I was glad to do it and glad
Want a
to come out.
cookie?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, well, bye now. We'll see you soon. And good cooking
delicious.
and good eating. You like them, huh?
Delicious.
They are pretty good. Bye now.